Hey there, Med-Peds class of 2020. I just want to say how proud I am of you guys and your graduation. I've been here at OSU for 4 years, and this is the first class that I get to graduate. So seeing you guys grow from interns to fourth years and now seeing you graduate brings me lots of joy. I think to see the class, I've seen the amount of compassion, intelligence, humanity, humor that makes me very happy to see the next generation of physicians as they're produced. Before I let you go, I want to share an excerpt from a book called Intoxicated by My Illness by Anatole Broyard. He was a writer for the New York Times and was diagnosed with prostate cancer and died in 1990. His book, which came out in 1992, chronicled his illness, and I want to share that with you right now. Now that I know I have cancer of the prostate, the lymph nodes, and part of my skeleton, what do I want in a doctor? I would say that I want one who is a close reader of my illness and a good critic of medicine. I cling to my belief in criticism, which is the chief discipline of my own life. I secretly believe that criticism can wither cancer. Also, I would like a doctor who is not only a talented physician, but also a bit of a metaphysician too. Someone who can treat body and soul. There's a physical self who's ill, and there's a metaphysical self who's ill. When you die, your philosophy dies along with you. So I want a metaphysical man to keep me company. To get to my body, my doctor has to get to my character. He has to go through my soul. He doesn't only have to go through my anus. That's the back door to my personality. I would hope that my doctor's authority and his charisma might help to protect me against what the anthropologist Richard Schroeder calls soul loss. I sense a terrible emptiness, a feeling that your soul has abandoned your ailing body like rats deserting a sinking ship. When your soul leaves, the illness rushes in. I used to get restless when people talked about soul, but now I know better. Soul is part of you that you summon up in emergencies. As Mr. Schroeder points out, you don't need to be religious to believe in souls or to have one. The mechanics of diagnosis are mostly done, in my ignorant opinion, by technicians. The technicians bring in the raw material. The doctor puts them into a poem of diagnosis. So I want a doctor with a sensibility. And that seems almost like an oxymoron, a contraindication in terms. A doctor is a man of science. Imagine Chekhov, who was a doctor for your doctor. Imagine having William Carlos Williams, who was a poet, or Walker Percy, who was a novelist for your doctor. Imagine having Rabeus, who was a doctor, as your physician. My God, I could conjure with him. Inside every patient, there is a poet trying to get out. For the sick man, distance lends enchantment to life. His sickness supplies the dissociation of sensibility that T.S. Eliot saw as the source of modern poetry. The sick man's story and his perceptions are part of the literature of extreme situations, a phrase that was in vogue in the 1950s and still applies today. My ideal doctor would read my poetry, my literature. He would see that my sickness has purified me, weakening my worst parts and strengthening the best. I don't see any reason why doctors shouldn't read a little poetry as part of their training. Dying or illness is kind of a poetry. It's a derangement. In literary criticism, they talk about the systemic derangement of the senses. This is what happens to a sick man. So it seems to me doctors could study poetry to understand these associations, these derangements, and it would be a more total embracing of the patient's condition. So those are my final words. Be a little bit of a metaphysician. Congratulations. Bye.